Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Rising Gems podcast. I am your host, Miroslava, and I am here with your other host,
Erica.
And we are back with episode number 2 of the Twin Flame series. If you haven't checked out episode 1, give it a listen. It's a very lengthy conversation, but it's full of perspectives, personal stories. We share everything we know about twin flames, how they show up, how we met our twin flames. So it's a very, very long, juicy conversation. So definitely check it out. So without further ado, Erica, let's just jump into this episode. We are going to be talking about soulmates, karmic soulmates, karmic contracts. Let's dive in. Okay, Erica, what are soulmates? What is your perspective of soulmates?
Soulmates are definitely very easy. They're fun. We can have many soulmates. It's not just geared towards romantic relationships. It can also be friendships as well. Family can be soulmates. It's just people that we really resonate with, that we have we have fun with them. We connect with them. We have, a lot of things in common. And it's just a very fun time. Now, soulmates can be long-term or they can be short-term. It's not, you can have many. We can have many, 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 many soulmates. It's just, they're very easy. They're fun. It's like a great time. And we have many of them and they come in many different ways.
What are karmic soulmates? And for this one, I actually made a few notes and I want to read this just to give you a little bit of my perspective. Karmic soulmates are shadow mentors. People that show up in your life to expand your awareness and knowledge of the shadow realm. The shadow realm is made up of distortion, thoughts, beliefs, emotions, all that is based on fear and everything that lacks harmony. The shadow realm is devoid of light, and light is truth. However, the shadow is necessary to achieve a neutral state of consciousness within a field of polarity. So to me, karmic soulmates are these people that you meet and they come in to change your life. But a lot of the times the connection with these karmic soulmates is very painful and it is very toxic. But it is because they are bringing in the shadow to show us so that we can understand this realm of distortion, and it points us in the direction of the root of our trauma and our fears, to address those things so that we can alchemize the energy within our field so that we can access a greater or higher state of consciousness.
Karmic soulmates can also be our parents. Like if we've had a unhealthy shadow, toxic parents, family member, friends, relationship, like soulmates and karmic connections can happen in all ways, shapes, and forms. But I do feel like there is some kind of karmic debt that's a little bit part ways. So that's my experience with karmic soulmates, is just like there can be times where like you have that connection, and there's other times where it's like really heavy throughout because there's some kind of like shadow, like heavy, toxic, abusive type situations. And then sometimes it can be very subtle because it's normal, it's familiar, but there's some kind of karmic debt that the two of you have to play out. So it's just like recognizing the unhealthy patterns that you might have, or to play out certain roles in order to move forward. But this can be, like I said, it can be in any type of dynamic. It does not have to be just, in relationships.
Romantic, yeah.
Romantic relationships.
Which leads me to the next thing that I wanted to address within this episode, which are soul contracts and karmic contracts. And I place these in two different categories because I feel that there is a difference. And so, like for me, soul contracts are agreements that feel good. These are, they just feel good within your field, within your energetic body. And they are also very, very fulfilling. And karmic contracts oftentimes trigger a spiritual death. Both contracts help you grow and expand your consciousness. A soul contract is, for example, Erica, what you and I are doing now with the podcast. I believe that
Yeah.
this is an agreement that we both made before incarnating on this earth as these humans this lifetime. And so this is something that we are, it is a contract that we are fulfilling with, with us stepping up and doing the podcast together with this collaboration. And a karmic contract would be the rejection of another. For example, you were in, let's say, in a connection with another person, they rejected you or they did something to you that made you feel just heartbroken or just bad about yourself, fear. And this would be an example of a karmic contract. They came here to kickstart your journey into a spiritual awakening or to help you grow, but it is more so through triggers and through discomfort rather than through, like Erica and I, with this agreement that we have. It's more so, just a collaboration, and it is working together and feeling the sisterhood. I think that's the only way I can describe it. So it feels
Yeah.
good, but the karmic contract would be something that just does not feel good, and at times, again, it triggers a very, very hard spiritual death. The karmic contracts are rude awakenings that inspire change. Soul contracts feel rewarding and expansive. Karmic contracts can often feel painful and contracting, but they are equally important and empowering. So, one more thing that I wanted to mention is that a lot of people, when we do experience those karmic soulmate connections, and I wanted to quickly just share a little bit of a story that I have about someone. And so, Eric, I'm going to try to be very quick with this story,
Oh,
but
that's fine.
but with this, I met this person. I was maybe like 19, 20 years old. And he was definitely, definitely a karmic soulmate because we had this very intense connection. And Erica, it's crazy because the connection that I had with this person is very similar to the connection that I have with my twin flame. Because I remember one day I was working, he was my boss. And I was in the fields. I used to work in the agriculture, chopping cotton. That's what we do here in the Midwest. And so he was the farmer that was the owner of the field that we were working at. And I would see him driving in his car or in his truck, and I could feel immediately the connection. It was like this very intense energetic connection. And I remember one day I was walking out of the field, exactly walking down the path that the truck went by, and I could even see him in my mind. I could feel his energy. It was just so present and so strong. But moving forth a few weeks and months, things didn't work out, and he actually triggered the beginning stages of my spiritual awakening. It was because of this connection that I got into spiritual books. I remember because of this connection, I bought the book by Don Miguel Ruiz, which is called the Mastery of Love. If you're in the twin flame journey, I highly recommend that book. It is so beautiful, so full of Toltec wisdom that is just so empowering and so fulfilling for the heart. And that's when I started to get into the whole spiritual world. And I also bought another book that is called May Cause Miracles by Gabrielle Bernstein. I think that's her name. And this is how I began to communicate with my spirit guides. So it was this person, the whole connection, not working out, the rejection, the ghosting, the feeling unworthy and feeling unseen, feeling unlovable, that triggered my whole spiritual awakening. So it was because of this man that I am here now and that I was able to start the whole process. It was a very painful situation. It was a rude awakening for me, but in the long term, once I started to do the work, it just felt so good. And I have nothing but gratitude for this person, regardless of what took place. And yeah, so I think that karmic soulmates can be very hard and very toxic, but there's a lot of lessons and a lot of beauty that comes out of those connections too.
Where a
And
connection might have situations where you do have certain karmic situations where you're having to really go through an experience, but it can also be a soul contract as well. It really depends on the context. I do want to say that, because if there's a lot of a heavy abuse, then that's not a soul contract. I do feel like those situations are definitely more heavy karmic contracts. Like, you both duked it out in other lifetimes and now you got to pay the debt. So it's kind of like learning the lessons.
I do want to say, like Erica was saying about the karmic contracts and like the whole thing within relationships that do experience a lot of abuse, that's definitely something that you don't have to stay in. You do have a choice, and I know it takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of willpower to step out of those situations. So we do send you the most love if you are currently in this situation. Know that you are not deserving of that pain, that you do not deserve to be punished this way. And I'm getting very emotional and chills talking about this. I don't know, for some reason, maybe one of you has to listen to this. But definitely I do believe that everything that we experience is part of our path, and it's part of something that we have to learn. But at the same time, it's like we don't have to stay in a situation. We do have a choice and we can get out. But again, it does take a lot of courage and a lot of willpower. So we are with you if you're in that situation. Josh, and this is actually one of our listeners, he sent in a few questions that we're going to be addressing. If you want us to address any questions, definitely go to the link in the description of this episode. Here's Josh's question. What is the difference between a false flame and a twin flame?
Okay, so a false twin flame is someone that we think is our twin flame at first, but they're not. I do feel like if you do resonate with the twin flame label and you have met a false twin flame, I do feel like there is a true twin flame out there for you. But a false twin flame is heavier. It's definitely more of the karmic type situation. So your true twin flame shows you all of the things you refuse to look at from your childhood, all of the wounding that you refuse to look at that you could not see before. So a twin flame just shines a light on there for you. They are not interacting in any of it. What they're doing is saying, hey, I'm showing up because this love is so intense. This connection is deep. So just feeling this vibration, just thinking about this person, it can kind of trigger certain things that might have made you feel unworthy, or certain things that might have happened in your childhood that you did not address before. So they're bringing these things to the surface so you can see, so you can transform, so you can heal. And it's a very deep, it's a very true loving. There are separation periods within most twin flame connections. So I do want to mention that, because the both of you have to go through these learning experiences to heal, because true twin flames are divine connections, where false twin flames are ego-based. True twin flames cannot be physically together until they've worked out their ego, they've gone through ego deaths, they've done some, childhood healing. So a true twin flame just shines a light on the things that you were running from before, you could not see before, that you were holding down, and they're kind of just helping you out. That's why there's a separation period. And like I said, you can literally only think about them and they can activate. They can activate certain things. Where a false twin flame, most of the time we do have more physical interactions or are in a relationship with them more, or it's more of like a sex with benefits, a friend with benefits, or they're playing out what you might have witnessed when you were a child. So
karmic soulmates and twin flame and false twin flames, are they the same thing? Because they sound kind of like the same to me. And
yes, I do see them as very similar.
Yeah, I think one more thing that we can mention that is a huge difference is the type of love that we have for each person. To me, the karmic soulmate and false twin flames are the same thing, because of what I experienced with the person that I said in the beginning, because it felt very similar to the twin flame connection. But I do believe that the type of love that we have for our true twin flame is very unconditional.
Yes.
And this is something that just happens. Like, you don't have to do any sort of work to feel that type of unconditional love. It is just that magnetic attraction. It is just, it's a very familiar energy, just like the soulmate. But there are so many layers, many layers that that we have to just address and see, and they do teach us a lot. And with the karmic soulmate, the love that we have is very conditional, and it's very like just what makes us feel comfortable. And with the twin flame, it's regardless of whether we are comfortable or not. Most of the time it's a lot of discomfort. The love that we have is it's just very divine. It's very spiritual and unconditional. So I think that's a big one too, to look out
Definitely
for.
a difference.
You lose the old identity when you meet your twin flame. It's like everything that you knew about yourself, the whole belief systems that you were holding on to, they all come to the surface. You see them, you understand that you no longer resonate with those aspects of yourself, and then you are able to release it. But this all comes forth because of the connection that you have with your true twin flame, because they're a mirror. They're reflecting. It's a projection of your own inner worlds, your own inner shadows. So, or they, like the karmic ones, they also do whatever they can to make you feel jealous.
Yes.
It is to get a reaction out of you rather than to be there to support you and to love you for who you are. And I think it's, again, and I love what you said also earlier, and I think it's important for us to reiterate this, is that your twin flame is never going to be intentional with the pain that they cause. It's never. And what I have experienced within my own connection is that the reason there was a lot of hurt and a lot of pain within my dynamic is because we were both reacting. We were both being very unconscious with our intentions. And so it's not like I know I probably said things that hurt him. I never did that with the intention to actually hurt him in a way that was very deep. Yeah, there were some things that I did, and that was at the very beginning stages, that I just did things because people said that those are the things that you do when you start dating people. But once you start gaining consciousness and start waking up to the connection, you don't do things to hurt the other person. So if you're right now currently with someone that is doing things intentionally to hurt you, they are making you jealous, they are triggering the fuck out of you intentionally, then maybe that's something that you need to look at and really address and feel, like Erica was saying, like really tune into the feeling. What do you actually feel about this connection? Remove the illusions, remove the ideas, the fantasies that you have created in your head, and tune into the feeling. I really feel that when you tune into the feeling, that's when the truth surfaces and you're able to understand the dynamic. So said, is there ever a happily ever after? And we're going to have an episode in which we're going to dive into twin flame union, twin flame separation, and all of those things. So just in short, is there anything that you want to say, Erica?
Yes, there is.
To answer this question.
Yes, there is. Yeah. Yes, there is definitely that outcome.
Yeah, it is a very high possibility, but again, it does take a lot of work from us to get to that point. And I feel that before we do achieve physical divine union with our twin flame, there has to be this inner divine union within our own masculine and feminine polarities. So the union has to take place within ourselves first, so that then it can manifest in physicality within this connection with this other person. So yeah, it is possible, but it will definitely take time. So these are all the questions that I have, Erica, and I think that we actually shared a lot of different perspectives, and I feel that hopefully this, what we shared, will resonate with you. And again, Erica kept saying this, and I agree. Everything that we share is simply our perspective, so take it if it resonates. If it doesn't, you don't have to believe anything that we say. It's just from our own personal experiences. And yeah, so again, if you resonate with our energy, if you vibe with the episodes that we have shared, definitely follow the podcast. Share this with anyone that is on the twin flame journey that you know of. If there's a group on Facebook of the twin flames, definitely share this with them, just to give them a different perspective and other insights. And yeah, if you would like to leave us a 5-star review on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, every other podcast platform, we would very much appreciate that. helps us a lot. And I think that's it. If you want to follow us on social media, the links are going to be in the description. If it's easier for you to send us questions and messages through our individual social medias, definitely do that. Feel free to do so. And Erica, that's it. We'll see you all or talk to you all on the next episode.
Bye.